How to edit videos with AI. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to edit videos using Claude, Hyperframes, other free tools, and why most of it sucks. It's slow, it's time consuming, and you're going to run into a lot of headaches. Now, I know a lot of people are excited to share, like, oh, AI can edit videos for you, but it can't do a good job just yet because it doesn't have the same level of training data as it does for maybe designing a website, creating a website, um, video games, other stuff, other examples, because there's just so much more storage and resources used with video and video content, especially the video that doesn't get used. Now, for the last 3 months, I tried training AI on how to edit videos. It did not go well. Now, this only tracked the last 3 weeks instead of the last 3 months, since I had several versions and iterations of using AI to edit videos for me. And then I just isolated everything into a single project 3 weeks ago. We had 83 fixes or issues, over 100 sessions, over 100 hours of actively working on this, 354 commits, close to 100 million tokens spent. Cost pretty low, considering all those hours. $686 worth of token usage, but I had the Claude Max plan. I still came out ahead though, considering everything I built and learned in that time. But yeah, it took so many hours to learn that AI cannot edit videos for you. It doesn't have that experience. It doesn't have that training data, just because there's so much data needed to say whether a video is edited good or not. And there's just so many different styles that it can go into. So in this video, we're just going to show you how to do basic edits with AI, and then you can kind of massage it into what you want. But for the most part, it's not something I enjoy doing. So it's painfully slow, and it's going to kill your soul a little bit as you edit using AI. How to edit videos with Claude. So it's going to be not the best experience. We will be using the Claude app. This works on PC or Mac, doesn't really matter. And what it does is it edits videos using FFmpeg, very basic, and it can just do things like removing silences, doesn't do too well on repeats, especially if you talk a little quick, and that's about it. It can't really rearrange footage that well, so you kind of want to isolate it to one video. Then it can stitch multiple videos together if it needs to, but that is a lot of work, and any mistake means you have to reprocess the entire video again. And let's just tell it what to do. Edit this video and remove the silences, any repeat mistakes, and then we give the path. It's running now, and it recognized that it is a talking head video. It's going to probe the video and detect for silent gaps, transcribe the video, and it's going to do that locally. And it's going to install all the other tools and software that we need to make this happen. And for reference, this video is 2 minutes and 27 seconds that it's editing, so we'll find out how long this takes. And it's done. In a little less than 10 minutes, it's finished our edits, and it says, one judgment call, I left alone. You say, just because I'm lazy. And since I'm lazy, I don't like editing. 2 real sentences, not a flub. And then it gives me some options. And it lists out the steps. It has to do the silence detection. It has to extract the audio. It runs locally through Faster Whisper. That's the software that transcribes everything kind of loosely too. So it's not precise. So there is going to be issues editing out repeats. You might have some stutters. You might have some hard cuts. So now that our video is complete, we'll take a quick look. It is 1 minute and 48 seconds, where our original was 2 minutes and 27 seconds. So it did a good job removing the silences and making it a little more concise. Since we have the project set up already, it's already been transcribed, all of that data is readily available, we can still make changes. It's going to be quicker than the first run. We'll remove everything related to hyperframes, and that'll make the video around 70 seconds. So we should be able to trim off even more from this video, and let's see how long that takes. Model overloaded, and it's retrying. So this is going to slow us down a little bit, and Opus 4.8 is overkill for this type of editing. I think we can even get away with Haiku. Let's give that a shot, and we want to put in our prompt again. And our new video was done in just a minute. We didn't have to do anything too crazy since it was just really trimming the video. And taking a look at the new video, it is now a minute 15. The trimming was successful. Let's see how it ends. We have our edit, which, is probably not too bad. It is going to save some time. And it ends at a very clean point. So good job there. So with that AI editing, very possible. You don't need the highest models. You can get away with the basic edits with Haiku because the instructions are very clear. But if you're going with more design related stuff, Sonnet and Opus 4.8 does make a lot more sense, especially if you're using something like Hyperframes, which we'll get into a little later in this video. So we used Haiku to trim the video. It did that perfectly. It ended at a very smooth point. We don't have any abrupt cuts. If we want to add or change anything, we do have to be very specific about what we want to do. And if we're recording and we want to avoid having these hard cuts, we're going to have to talk a lot slower so there's cleaner breaks between the edits. So that's just something to consider if you are a creator using AI to edit. You want to take things slower. I don't know why my hands did that, but okay. Hyperframes. You've probably heard it, you've probably seen a few tutorials, but it's not working well. And I know it because I hate it and I've done the same thing. I was looking online for Hyperframes tutorials and it just wasn't working. Maybe I'll just do a full video tutorial on that in the future. Let me know. But as you can see, I have this passion and hatred for all the issues that I experienced using Hyperframes. And it's not Hyperframe's fault, and it's a little bit my fault and the AI's fault because we're lazy. We did not read the documents on how to use these skills. So I'm gonna help you out and save you so much time and headaches. If you want to use Hyperframes, first off, you have to install it. And second off, you have to use their skills and invoke what you want. You can't just leave it to AI because it's going to produce trash. So if you're not familiar, Hyperframes is this AI agent that composes videos by writing HTML, CSS, and JS. These are all letters. These letters mean nothing to me. But what does matter is some of the effects that they can generate. So you kind of have to look at some of their animations and examples, and it's not like really easy to have a catalog of it because, yeah, they made it kind of a bad experience. We're just going to go into our vibe cut here, and I'll show you a little bit more on this later, but that's fine. You can see that it has a recap. I don't love it. I don't love it. And that's because we need a better way to generate these assets, and that's only through Hyperframe Studio. That's what you should be using. So at least for going through their catalog, this is what they have. You want to understand what's in their catalog so you can use it. You can call out like, oh, I want these effects, I want this here, and you have to add that to your prompt. So you can kind of see that they have a lot of different features here. It is all available in their documentation, but you have to call it. AI is going to be lazy, and if AI is lazy, it's not going to give you the best product. And it does its best through Claude Code using the Hyperframe skill. I love using the desktop app, but if I want the best experience, I have to use the Hyperframe skill here. Edit this video. Edit this video and use Swiss grid and other effects. And then you wait. So that's the thing with AI video. It does take a while. And if you get a bad video, it's going to take a while to reproduce another one. So you kind of hope that there isn't an issue. Now our Hyperframes edit is done. It did not give us this in Hyperframe Studio. So you kind of have to know to ask for Hyperframe Studio if you want to make changes before it actually renders. But let's take a look at our video here. We're just going to copy this guy. And it loves to do this. It just loves to give these titles, which aren't really helpful, and it loves to number things. O1 the tool, these little pill cards and text. It's just not necessarily helpful to anyone in the video. I'd like the zoom there. That was a nice, like, slow zoom. The counter is nice. That's about it, and it ends on this card, which I don't think is helpful at all, and it's just really forcing in more things than you actually need. But the problem is it didn't give us Swiss grid, which is what we specifically asked for, and it's a style I actually like using when it appears, when it actually gets made. So you can see the examples here. And the thing is, you have to know about them, you have to ask about them to get it made. So that's the thing with hyperframes. There is a steep learning curve to get exactly what you want from it. And we did ask. We asked specifically, we want the Swiss grid. We did not see it. So I said we didn't get the Swiss grid effect with a recap of key points that I wanted. And that's how you use the Swiss grid feature. Can you draft it in Hyperframe Studio? So this is something you specifically have to ask for. Now the total time was 21 minutes. Remember, it took 21 minutes for us to get graphics and not exactly what we wanted from a 2-minute video. Now, if there's like one little thing we don't like or want changed, and we don't want to do any editing, we have to precisely say, hey, I don't like this, remove this thing at this point, and then another 21 minutes. But if you opened it in Hyperframe Studio, that's easier to edit, that's easier to move things around and adjust and delete, and you can render from Hyperframe Studio, which will save you a lot more time and headaches. So now we have Hyperframe Studio popping up. Claude Code recognized its mistake and said here the Swiss grid recap is exactly what was missing because we requested that. And then it opened up Hyperframe Studio. So let's take a look. Now a lot of changes there. Still no Swiss grid, but I do like the full screen key points. That's something that they added here. If we want to change the text here, we just have to select it and say, Dan changes text. And then we can scroll forward, and that's kind of what it ends on. And we have a time bar at the top that wasn't requested. So yeah, if you don't give directions to hyperframes, it's just gonna assume what you want. And even if you do give directions, sometimes it's gonna say, I'm not gonna give that to you. Now, just to reference this other video I made completely using hyperframes, it was a podcast, it was all recorded through Google Meet. The speakers are centered, so we didn't have to really guess where things were going. I was using these cards that popped up, and yeah, it did a really good job. Hyperframes even tracked down the book that we mentioned. It got the image and it put it up there. It also got the name of Andy correct because that is going to be misspelled. So if you're looking for what hyperframes could do, or like what Swiss grid I'm talking about, this is the Swiss grid. I really love using it because it hones in on key points and just reminds you of what's going on. It did take 3 days, again, 3 days to edit all of this, just because sometimes there was an issue or something didn't look right or something wasn't smooth. So we had to reproduce the video. And you know, this was a podcast, so 48 minutes, and trying to one-shot a 48-minute video is going to take a couple tries. How to edit with AI using Premiere Pro. Now, to do that, you need an MCP. MCP allows you to have your AI talk to the Premiere Pro software. Now, there isn't an official Adobe Premiere Pro MCP, which is surprising. They really should launch that as soon as possible, but right now there isn't. So there are 2 GitHub repos that I've tried: Het Patel's Adobe Premiere Pro MCP and LeanCoder Cavi's. Now these are still very small GitHub repos. There is definitely risk to it. So if you want to try it, it is possible, but I can tell you what they are capable of now. Adobe Premiere Pro MCP by Het Patel. This was one of the first ones. And then this one by LeanCoder Cavi has more additions and more features. Now, I've used both of them and they are okay. It doesn't do exactly what I wanted to do. It's able to remove silences, it's able to fade in and fade out some cuts, so it's a lot smoother, but it still struggles with things like removing repeats. Now that's an issue with the transcription process, with like reading the waveform monitors. It's a little too advanced. So for the most part, you can still use it for video editing, but it's very basic. So if you're going to use AI in Premiere Pro to edit, it's not terrible. It is a little risky, and it's not something I would personally use. And actually, I stopped paying for Adobe Premiere Pro mostly because I'm cheap. And I also noticed that the more you edit, it doesn't really matter unless you are doing like high-end productions. How to edit for free. So if you're cheap and you just want some free video editing software, we're going to go over those solutions. And as someone who has been editing for many years and creating YouTube content, I'm lazy. I really hate editing and compiling videos and overlaying stuff like this, where like, oh, maybe I'm in the bottom left or at the top right. And what you want to do is use OBS and hotkeys and set up different scenes where you can easily move between different places on the screen at the press of a button. I'm not using a Stream Deck or anything. I'm just using hotkeys on my keyboard, F8, F9, F10, to switch between these different visuals. So that is just a very important tip if you are going to make YouTube tutorial content like this, because it's easy. So first off, for free editing software, CapCut is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's free. Obviously, you have to pay if you want some of their other features. They do say AI powered photo and video editor, but still very basic as far as editing. It won't actually edit the video completely free for you, or even with a subscription. The editing process, not a thing yet with AI and CapCut. DaVinci Resolve. This is one of the most popular ones out there, but also the most complicated. I tried this. I hated it. I do not use it. I use CapCut with my hotkeys that I brought over from Premiere Pro. Now, there's some other ones too if you want to try building up your own. There's OpenCut, which is the free CapCut alternative, which is kind of weird because CapCut is free and there is a paid tier, and it is a lot more work to set up with significantly less features, but this is something you can do. Now, OpenCut is free software, and I decided to make my own version and added some features I used from Adobe Premiere, and I'm just going to show you one of the coolest things you can do. Since I'm lazy and I don't like editing videos too, I'm going to show you how I edit a quick video. So I am using my own vibe cut version of OpenCut, and we are going to use the AI director. It's using some AI tools for transcription, and what it's going to do now is just look for the repeats, edit those out. It's probably going to miss a few. It's going to remove the silences automatically, and then it shows us our review. So it's going to cut the repeated word MCP, likely a stumble, repeated the word it's, likely a stumble, and trailing outro ramble trails off. Like, all right, so yeah, sure, if I want to do that, I just get rid of it and I can restore it. Still working on that. So then we have our edit, which, is probably not too bad. It is going to save some time. All right, so recap. Editing with AI is possible. There are a lot of iterations and things that you have to specify, and it is a steep learning curve. So the barrier to editing with AI is time and potentially money, depending on what services you're using, what you're running. Whereas if you just optimize how you record things, how you edit things, and what you might actually need, there can be a lot more time and money savings there as well. So this video was about me sharing what I wanted to hear when I was watching videos on AI editing, and I was getting excited, like, oh, you could do this and this. But the reality is it's very time consuming, and the iterations. Now, no one really made that pain a point to share, but that's something I'm going to do. I'm pretty good at complaining. But the good thing is, yes, you can have AI edit your videos. It's just not the best experience as of yet. AI video generation is the future, and I'm just addicted to everything that is being generated because it's so entertaining. Now, we're probably going to have another video on that in the future, but I just want to say that this is where editing is going, where you're just going to be generating video and other assets where you won't need to do as much editing for mistakes and issues and compiling things together, because everything is correct on its first try. Which is why I'm working on another video about the future of AI entertainment, so be sure to subscribe, follow, like, and all of that is always very helpful. And with that, I hope you got your full value for today. What if there was a collab between Police Academy, and RoboCop. I didn't imagine it. Someone else did. AI entertainment is the future before all the lawsuits happen.